What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all massively helps out our channel. And with that being said, let's just crack straight on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from SorryWife09871. Am I the arsehole for putting our nanny on the family membership instead of my wife? I'm a father of 2 kids. Wife and I both work. She works considerably more than I do with less flexibility. She also has a ton of responsibility at her job, where even if it's her time off, if shit goes down, she has to handle it. So a few weeks ago, I took my kids to a local museum. They loved, so I joined for a membership. The membership is good for 4 people. You can add extras, but it costs more. I just did the 4, but instead of adding my wife as the other adult, I added our nanny. 9 times out of 10, it's either me or our nanny taking the kids somewhere, so it made sense. My wife discovered it after looking on our account because the kids and nanny are going today, so she wanted to confirm the membership was good. It hurt her feelings, and I suppose she chose to take it out on me with anger. She didn't like my answer for why I did it and kept saying it says a lot that I just put our nanny in the mum slot instead of paying the extra $15 for her to be in there too. And we'll start with Just the Bean, who says you're the arsehole mostly for doing this behind her back. As a nanny, I've been added to family memberships before and occasionally in place of a parent. However, I would never allow that to happen without the other spouse's knowledge and consent. You lied by omission, and she had to find out while looking at the credit card statement. That is where you fundamentally screwed this up. I have to ask, is making your wife feel this way really worth saving $15? And Babs Garcia says you're the arsehole, was going not the arsehole until the extra cost was $15. You have a full-time nanny, both work, and that was too much money. Dude, for that amount I can understand her being upset. How can you be married to a working mum and not realise what happens? Mums have to deal with the struggles of splitting time, feeling less than in all situations. If she tells them at work she can't go in because of family and kids, she's not a dedicated employee. If she can't be at Junior's baseball game or take him to the museum because of work, she's a bad mum. They can't win. So while completely unintended, by saving that $15, she feels you basically told her that she's never there for the kids. Translation, a bad mum. Nice. Throw yourself on a sword and apologize profusely. Make it up to her, whatever it takes. And Not a Girl says, are you trying to make your wife think you're cheating with the nanny? It might make more sense logistically to put the nanny on the membership, but holy shit, dude, you aren't doing yourself any favors. You're the arsehole. Edit, you're in the replies not getting this. OP literally couldn't be bothered to spend $15 on his wife. He literally replaced the mother of his children with the nanny and kept it a secret. His wife must feel worthless. $15 is nothing to someone who is rich enough to afford a nanny, but OP couldn't be bothered. It's just salt in the wound that he put the nanny's name down in the designated mother position. And Hollow602 says no one's an arsehole here. Your choice is 100% logical, but that museum membership has the word family or mum slot/spot in it, making the topic somewhat sensitive. Maybe it could have been better if your wife had previous knowledge of your cost-saving plan, but now it's too late, so the best you can do is try to give her some space and then communicate with her. Your wife's anger is probably justified considering your description of her pressure at work. Would suggest you not take her words personally. Wish you the best. Edits, I want to address a few things that fellow Redditors pointed out. I agree that a completely logical choice with the objective of saving money disregards emotions in this case, but communication with people to solve problems is what matters in the present to me. I assume that the $15 situation is a monthly cost. Yes, it was an assumption based on membership models in my country around me. Over the months in a year, it costs a huge amount for people like me. The mum slot thing is something I stole from OP's post. If I have offended any one of our LGBTQ+ fellow Redditors, please forgive my ignorance. It was unintentional. I'm thankful for your feedback, people. And Royally Oki says, you're the arsehole, just the tiniest bit of deep thinking would have told you that paying the $15 was the better option. It's almost like you're rubbing your wife's already hectic schedule in her face. And Mad Piglet says that no one's an arsehole here. I totally understand why you would do that. It makes sense. I can also understand why your wife would be upset, but I think in the grand scheme of things, it's not as big deal as she is making it out to be. I will sit down with her at a neutral time when she's feeling good and try to talk about why she reacted so strongly to something that ultimately makes no difference to anything except your family budget, and that's a positive. If she's still so upset about it and your family finances can handle the $15 a month or whatever, so change the membership so the wife is in the mum slot and nanny is the extra. Sometimes keeping the peace costs money, but I don't think anyone is truly in the wrong here. And Pamphlet Hamlet 21 says, you're the arsehole. It doesn't matter who isn't taking the kids. You put your nanny on a membership for a family over your wife. Think about how that made her feel. You may simply see it as a membership, but think of her side. What if your wife wants to take the kids someday? Now she has to be the extra person when she's their mother. I've been a nanny before. Never once was I put over the mum. You're the arsehole 100%. Now, what are your thoughts on this one? I mean, as I said, I could be totally wrong. I'm still sticking with my decision on this, simply because I think it's something that was all blown out of proportion and can be fixed with a conversation, but I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next one. And our next story comes from ZZ9595. Am I the arsehole for saying that I paid for me and my husband's wedding? Me 20 female, my husband 24 male, and our friend were hanging out at a cafe and chatting. Somehow the topic moved to money, and my husband said, honestly, women are more irresponsible than men about money. And I said, what do you mean? I'm very responsible with money. And that's when he said, no, remember when you'd always go shopping with your friend and I would have to remind you to save money? I was really taken back by this and it hurt me a lot. I saved up nearly every paycheck for a year so that I could move to my husband's country and help out financially. I only went shopping with my friend once or twice. So I said, no, that never happened. I worked my ass off and even paid for our whole wedding. This made him extremely angry and he started causing a scene next to our friend. He kept asking me what the fuck I wanted to prove and was just cursing and yelling until our friend got embarrassed and left. I never meant for the wedding comment to be hurtful. I was just trying to give an example of how I'm responsible with money. Plus, I'm sure it was somewhat obvious that I paid for the wedding. My husband's from a third world country and didn't have the money to pay for a big wedding, while I'm from the US and it was easy for me to make that money. I am just mortified and I feel like I can never see our friend again. I might be the arsehole because my comment could have been out of line and hurt his pride, but I feel like he overreacted. He could have at least waited until we'd gone home. Edit, please read. We talked and he said he was mostly mad over me talking about personal things in front of our friend, which is somewhat true. We all know his cousin and we're talking about how she's not the best person, lying, cheating, etc., but my husband defended her a little bit. I asked why he was defending her and we started talking about issues we'd had with her in the past. I didn't bring her up, but I started talking about somewhat personal things involving me, my husband and her. I got a little bit emotional and was saying things like yes or no, do I have the right to dislike her, and pointing fingers at him. My husband saw my tone and attitude towards him as degrading and said I looked at him like he was nothing and was trying to gang up on him. He said that because I brought up personal things in public, then I deserved him getting angry publicly and that he shouldn't have reacted that way, but I shouldn't have started it. Somehow the topic moved to money after that and my husband blew up at the wedding comment because he was already mad. I didn't know he was mad about that until now, so I just wanted to add that in, and I want to tell his side of the story. Another edit. We talked about things with his brother, not the most unbiased person I know, and things are better now. His brother told him he needs to work on his anger issues and he agreed. He also talked about the culture here and how men take these comments to heart, but he knows I didn't mean anything. I left it at that because I want to put this whole thing behind me and try to move on. Nothing like this has ever happened before between us in the 4 years we've been together, and I hope it won't again, but if it does, I'll take action. I can't reply to everyone, but thank you for your comments. And we'll start straight away with Soul Piece 2 on this one, just showing some red flags. Lovely summertime following up with not the arsehole. Listen to the commenters, OP. Your husband is trying to paint you in a bad light about something that never happened, or happened and like he painted it. Is him gaslighting you? With more red flags. iDrow1 says, oh no, not the arsehole. And you should have asked your husband what he was trying to prove with a stupid comment. Studies have shown women are more financially responsible than men. He obviously has issues with women. I'm sorry you're married to someone who feels that way. And Howard Project says not the arsehole, so let me get this straight. Your husband, while having lunch with his wife and her friend, decided to go on a random rant about women, followed it up by belittling you, and then tried to gaslight you, and you somehow think anything here is your fault. And Organic says not the arsehole, why did you marry him? Followed by Cinderella saying so many red flags, girl run, this man has abusive, controlling and manipulative all over him. Gabby says not the arsehole, your husband was shaving you in front of your friend and apparently lying to do so. One more from E Frisbee saying, your husband tries to insult all women, attempts to use a generic example to put you down, and when you come back with a specific example of why he is wrong, he loses his shit. Your husband sucks, you are not the arsehole. Now what would you do in this situation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Emu Luna. Am I the arsehole for telling my sister not to bring her kids over so much? I, 25 female, recently graduated. The city I live in has a shortage of apartments. I could technically afford an available one, but that would mean I would have no extra money for anything but the bare basics. While waiting for a more reasonable place to open up, I have moved in with my parents, who own a house within reasonable commuting distance. My older sister, 32 female, has 3 children, 6 male, 3 female, 1 female. We aren't very close, as her entire identity since her oldest was born is stay-at-home mum. She usually brings her kids over several times a week to visit and or have my parents babysit while she goes grocery shopping and other errands. I'm not really a kid person, don't plan on having any myself, and I can tolerate hers in small doses. Before I lived on campus, this wasn't really an issue. Now, however, I feel like I never get a break from the kids. My parents don't allow them in my room, but when they're here, I can't go out and relax in their living room since they're in there. My room is fairly small, and I don't like being cooped up in it all day when they visit. Yesterday, when my sister picked up the kids, they decided to stay for dinner, which meant I had even less time without them. I asked my sister if she would limit their visits to a max of twice a week while I'm here, in order to respect my needs. She got extremely angry at me and accused me of selfishly preventing her kids from seeing their grandparents. Am I the arsehole? Now this is one of those very, very simple ones for me. This is not your house. You have no right to make those demands or whatsoever. You can dislike kids and not want kids as much as you like, but you can't stop them from going to visit their grandparents when it's not your house in the first place, you bloody cheeky so-and-so. But let's check out some comments to see what they say. And we'll start off with No Carb Left Behind, who says, do you ever think your parents are just tolerating you? You're 25, move out. Entitled is the best word to describe you. You're the arsehole. And Danuli says, you're the arsehole, not your house, and I'm sure your folks love seeing their grandkids. I say this as a child-free woman who understands kids can be way too much. And Tandy Angie says, you're the arsehole for a lot of reasons, and quotes, her entire identity since her oldest was born is stay-at-home mum. Then says, what else is it supposed to be? She's a mother with 3 kids, give her a break. Then quotes again saying, my parents don't allow them in my room. And then says, that is your needs being met, by the way. Anything past this makes you the arsehole. You want to relax in your home? Go get one. But your parents deserve to be grandparents if they want to be, and you don't get to take that away from them or your sister. An organic extension says, you're the arsehole. It's not your house and nobody asked to babysit. And Clasper says, lol, are you joking? You're the arsehole. You have no right to ask anything of her when you are not the owner of the home. Move out if you want your own space so bad, especially if you can afford it. Get over yourself. And Ollie Golly Molly says, you're the arsehole, it's not your house. They aren't allowed in your room, which is all you can feasibly ask for. I get it completely. I'm CF and do not like to spend much time around kids, but you can't make the rules at someone else's house. And we have one more from iDrow1 who says, I'm not a kid person so I get it, but you're the arsehole. I fully expected this to be your place based on the title, but it's not. You're asking her to not bring kids around to your parents' house, which is ridiculously entitled of you. If your parents are okay with the visits, then that's the end of it. You're acting like a choosing beggar here. You're 25, get your own place. This way, you can make the rules. Now, what do you guys think of this one? Let me know in the comments below and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Big Bangarang 3. Am I the arsehole for not wanting to give my friend the key to my bridal suite? I'm really torn on this one and could use a second opinion. Also, obligatory disclaimer, English is not my first language. So I, 21 female, is getting married to my boyfriend, 24 male, in about a month. We booked a bridal suite on a nice hotel for 2 days, so that we can put all the things we need the day after the wedding in there the day before our ceremony. My boyfriend and I will both be going to the suite to leave said things there after we're done decorating for the party, and then we will leave to sleep at 2 different places for the night. One of our friends, 23 female, who we'll call D, insists on leaving her present for us in the bridal suite, which we've agreed to let her do, but only if I'm there to let her into the suite and make sure the door is locked behind her. Also so that I can get our key back. This is where our problem starts. Dee has begun insisting that I give her our room key, even though I have said no countless times. I've told her that I'm not allowed to be giving out our key, but I'll be happy to let her in and wait outside of the room while she sets up her present. She won't accept this, as she wants me to give her our key and then leave the hotel. She even lied to me and said that another one of my friends are involved, but when I asked said friend, she knew nothing about it. It just stresses me out that Dee wouldn't accept the no to get in my key, but am I making too much of a fuss about it? So Reddit, am I the arsehole? Edit, the hotel is a password hotel, so her having the key will give her full access during our entire stay. Edit 2, I'm from Denmark, where it is somewhat normal to do wedding pranks. Now that was my first thought when I was reading through this, and I didn't know, I wasn't sure if I was making it up or not, but I've heard of wedding pranks where they get access to the bridal suite and they like put cling film over the toilet or something equally as disgusting. Just what you want after your wedding is piss around your ankles. Or it could be something positive. Maybe they want to decorate the room, you know, put petals around and champagne and all that kind of good stuff. But I'd be wary just in case. I still wouldn't give that key over just in case I'm getting pranked. But Counting Pickle says not the arsehole. It's a bit odd she's so insistent on the whole thing. Stick to your guns. And Maleficent Ad says not the arsehole. I do not know why Dee wants the key to your suite so bad. Your allowance to let us store the present in your room is enough. The fact that Dee lied to get the key is super suspicious. Why does it need to be set up? Can Dee just hand you the box? Okay, I don't know Dee, but I can't help but wonder if Dee has a secret drug, gambling and spending problem and wants to steal a lot of wedding presents to pawn to cash to get it. Do not give her a key to your room full of goods that might go missing. And Rudolph says, in some countries it's tradition to trash the room, apartment and house, so the bride and groom have to clean up first before going to bed, etc. Do not give the key, not the arsehole. Strawberry Pesto says, not the arsehole, she might want to surprise you and decorate the room, leave champagne, etc. That's not uncommon in my area, but she should respect your wishes and not turn it into an issue. And we have one more from Repetagaz saying, not the arsehole. You could say something like, thank you, but your gift is becoming a distraction from the main event, our wedding. You can leave the gift on the table like all the other guests. My hunch is, the reason she's acting like this is because the gift is somehow embarrassing, sexual or inappropriate. You have every right not to want that energy at your wedding. Your family will be there, and they will be people from all walks of life. If she wants to give you a sexy joke present, she can do it in some other context, like your bachelorette party. Weddings are tightly scripted events, and you are in the right if you don't want any surprises. Now, what do you think of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another one. And our next story is from Emo Throwaway. Am I the arsehole for requiring that kids be dressed emo as fuck at my wedding? Me, 31 male, and my husband, 27 male, recently decided that we wanted to get married. It has been delayed multiple times due to COVID, and my family is completely unsupportive and cut off. His family isn't super happy about the queer stuff, but they're at least civil. So we wanted to have the wedding and reception that we wanted to have. B, my husband, is hella into emo music, and has been ever since he was young. Paramore, A Day to Remember, etc. This dude lives and breathes the stuff, so we had a distinctively emo 90s, noughties, goth aesthetic for the wedding. He wore a suit that was all black with red accents. I wore the jacket from NCR's Black Parade. It was great. We decided we wanted to have an open bar at the wedding. We wanted to have a lot of queer friends come and feel free to express themselves however they saw fit. For this reason, we didn't want kids at the wedding, but understood that it's a tall task depending on the family situations. So on our save the date, we put, children are allowed but must be dressed emo as fuck, not a joke. We figured that the kids would look badass, and if they got upset or threw a tantrum during the wedding reception, at least it would fit the emo aesthetic. Day of the wedding, B's aunt arrives with her kids dressed in bright Easter pastel suits. The relationship they have is already tenuous, and when confronted about the dress code, B's aunt said, already had to come to this gay wedding, I wasn't going to make my kids wear devil clothes too. Which, for obvious reasons, did not go down well. We refused to let her in and had security escort her out of the venue, and she threw a tantrum the whole way to her vehicle. Now we're getting calls and texts from the other members of B's family saying that we were awful and rude for how we treated her and her kids. That they should have been let in anyways, etc. It wasn't a destination wedding for anyone, but they still mentioned time spent driving, getting ready, etc. Both B and I held firm that this wasn't going to be an experience we wanted, and the rest of the wedding went off without a hitch. Am I the arsehole? Edit, to be clear, the dress code for the wedding was emos, 90s, noughties, goth as well. Wasn't just for the kids. Edit 2, in regards to the availability of pastel clothing, anyone near the Bible Belt can tell you that Easter Sunday is a sea of pastel clothing for all ages. And we'll start off with Mountain Goat 05 saying everyone sucks here. I think you were groomzillas for expecting a dress code that people may or may not be able to afford. However, this aunt was the much bigger arsehole for what she said. And No Jellyfish says not the arsehole. It's not even about the aunt not following the dress code. It's about how she had reacted. And Sammy says not the arsehole. This one is getting mixed responses and I was on the fence here. Enforcing a dress code for kids at a wedding seems really petty, but 1. They brought kids when they knew you didn't really want them. 2. They actually went out their way to do the exact opposite of what you asked. 3. Their reason was homophobia and some devil clothes nonsense. So that's 3 strikes in my opinion. I would have said you're the arsehole if they were otherwise nice people, but they were actually trying to piss in your Cheerios with this. Going forward, I'll just not invite people like that to anything, family or not. And Breadcrumb Forest says everyone sucks here personally. I think anyone who imposes a super strict wedding dress code is an arsehole. If the appearance of your guests will determine whether your day is ruined or not, you need to re-examine your priorities before getting married. And Dumb says everyone sucks here. Either allow kids to come to the wedding or make it child free. And quotes, we figured the kids would look badass if they got upset or threw a tantrum. And then says, you and your husband are the assholes for treating children like a photo opportunity. If there isn't a dress code for everyone else, then there shouldn't be dress code for kids, regardless of the theme. B's aunt is an asshole for her behaviour after being confronted, but she is not an asshole for dressing her kids in pastels. Edit. After some clarification in the comments, I realised that the dress code was for everyone, and not just singling out children. I left my original judgment above, but after the clarification, I think OP is not the arsehole. And we'll have one more from Wild Possum Lover who says not the arsehole, your wedding, your rules, and the fact that she called it a gay wedding and the attire devil clothes shows she had zero business being there to begin with. Now, what do you guys think of this one? Let me know your thoughts on this story and all of today's stories in the comments below if you choose to share them. No pressure if you don't want to though. Absolutely no pressure at all. Thank you so much for your time and spending 20 minutes with the channel and getting involved. It means the absolute world to me. You are absolute legends for what you do and it means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much for your love, support and time and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys. Much love.
I got food up in the fridge. Y'all keep looking for that new wave. I think I like it how it is.